Hi kids, welcome to VChid's Moral and Bedtime Stories, where every adventure begins with a sparkle. Chapter 1. The Brush Awakens. The fish that swam off the canvas once upon a time, in a quiet seaside town, lived a little girl named Lila. She wasn't the strongest, nor the richest, but she had something rare, a heart that loved to dream and a mind full of colors. Every evening, when the sun dipped into the sea, Lila would sit with her sketchbook, drawing worlds that only she could imagine. But she never knew that one magical evening would change her life forever. One windy night, while exploring her grandmother's attic, Lila stumbled upon a dusty wooden box. It was carved with tiny seashells and swirling cloud patterns. Curious? She opened it, and inside lay something extraordinary, an old paintbrush. Its handle glowed faintly, and its bristles shimmered as though dipped in starlight. Alongside it was a small rolled-up scroll. Lila unrolled it carefully and read, "Paint with kindness, and the world will open to you. Paint with greed, and the colors will fade." She smiled, thinking it was just a beautiful old saying, until the magic began. Back in her room, Lila dipped the brush into her paints. But something strange happened. The colors swirled on their own, blending into dazzling shades she had never seen before. Carefully, she painted a simple golden fish, bright and lively. As she finished the final stroke, the fish blinked, its tail flicked, and before Lila could blink again, it leaped off the canvas, swimming through the air, leaving sparkling bubbles behind. Lila gasped in wonder. The fish twirled around her room, glowing softly, but then its light began to fade. It tapped the window gently, as if asking her to follow. With her heart racing, Lila ran to the shore, the little fish guiding her through the night. The moonlit sea shimmered as waves whispered secrets. Standing at the edge, brush in hand, she watched as the fish dived into the dark water. Suddenly, the brush in her hand glowed brighter than ever before, and a deep, calm voice echoed through the waves. "Welcome, keeper of the brush. The sea remembers your kindness." From the depths rose a magnificent sea turtle, its shell gleaming like crystal, its eyes warm and wise. "Little artist," it said, "a darkness is spreading across our worlds. Only your brush can bring the colors back." And so, on that magical night, with stars above and the ocean before her, Lila's great adventure began. A single fish had led her to a destiny far greater than she ever imagined. The magic paintbrush was no ordinary tool. It was the key to worlds beyond the sea and sky. The end. Stay tuned for next adventure. Chapter 2. The Singing Sea Cave. After the magical night by the sea, Lila could think of nothing else. The glowing fish? The wise turtle? The voice that called her keeper of the brush? It was like a dream she didn't want to end. The very next evening, as the sun sank into the horizon, she felt the paintbrush quiver in her hand. This time, its bristles shimmered like silver moonlight. A soft voice whispered in her ear, "The ocean sings tonight. Will you listen?" Lila dipped the brush into her paints, but instead of a fish, she painted a spiral of blue and green. The canvas seemed to ripple, and then, like water spilling over a cup, the painting opened into a swirling portal. Taking a deep breath, Lila stepped through and found herself beneath the sea. All around her, corals glowed like jewels, and fish darted by like living rainbows. Splash! The wise sea turtle glided to her side. "Welcome back, keeper," he said. "There's someone who needs our help." He led her to a great cave hidden behind curtains of seaweed. From inside came a strange sound, not quite a song, not quite a cry. As they entered, Lila gasped. The cave walls shimmered with glowing patterns, but in the center sat a huge clam, its pearl cracked and dull. Around it swirled tiny sea creatures, humming sadly. "Splash," explained. "This pearl holds the sea's song. Without it, the ocean loses its joy. Lila touched the brush to the pearl and painted gentle waves of color. But it wasn't enough. The crack grew wider. Then, she remembered the scroll's words. Paint with kindness, and the world will open to you. Closing her eyes, she thought not of fixing the pearl for glory, but of the creatures that needed its song. The brush glowed brighter, and suddenly, colors burst like fireworks. The crack sealed, and the pearl sang a clear, beautiful melody that made the entire ocean sparkle. Fish danced, corals bloomed, and even Splash's shell glowed brighter. You did it, Splash said softly, because you cared. As they left the cave, Lila noticed a new color on her brush's shimmering teal she had never seen before. The voice whispered again. One song is saved. Many more await. And with that, Lila was carried home, the sound of the sea's song echoing in her dreams. The end. Stay tuned for the next adventure, coming soon. Next chapter! The Sky Isles of Dreams, where clouds become bridges and courage takes flight. The Sky Isles of Dreams. The very next morning, Lila awoke to a strange fluttering sound. At the foot of her bed lay a single silver feather, gleaming in the sunlight. As she picked it up, the paintbrush hummed. The sky calls you, it whispered. Without hesitation, Lila began to paint a swirl of clouds, a line of blue, a golden sun. The canvas rippled and lifted her gently into the air, higher and higher, until she landed on a floating island made of clouds. Here the world was upside down. Rivers of light flowed through the sky, and crystal bridges connected drifting islands. Birds of every color flew past, but one landed before Hera Blue Jay with silver-tipped wings. I am Aero, he said with a playful bow. The wind told me you were coming. We need your help. The bridges between the islands are breaking. Without them, the young birds cannot find their way home. Aero led Lila to a broken bridge, half of it missing, the other half crumbling. Below was nothing but endless sky. Lila hesitated. What if I fall? She asked. Aero chirped. Courage is a bridge to keep her. Trust it. Taking a deep breath, Lila dipped her brush in the teal color she had gained from the ocean and painted sweeping arcs across the sky. Each stroke became a ribbon of solid rainbow light. Slowly, carefully, the bridge was rebuilt, shimmering brighter than ever. The birds cheered. An arrow flew circles around her. You brought them home, he said with a smile. You have more courage than you think. As she prepared to leave, a new color appeared on her brush, a soft gold, warm as the sun. The voice whispered, Land, sea, and sky are bound by kindness, but a shadow stirs. And just like that, Lila drifted back to her room, the feather now part of her treasure. Next chapter, the colors that fought back when magic becomes mischief. Stay tuned for next episode. The colors that fought back. Days passed, and Lila's room filled with treasure shells, feathers, even drops of color captured in jars. But one morning, something strange happened. A small blob of paint rolled off her brush. It blinked, giggled, and bounced across her desk. I'm Inky. It squeaked, and I want to paint too. At first, Lila laughed and let Inky play. But Inky was mischievous. He painted without thinking. Tiny dragons that sneezed sparks, flowers that floated away, and doors that led to nowhere. Soon, the room was chaos. Lila tried to stop him, but the blob zipped around, making more trouble. Finally, the voice of the brush spoke. Even colors must learn to listen. Instead of scolding, Lila sat calmly and said, Inky, would you like to paint with me? Together, we can make something beautiful. Inky paused, then nodded. Side by side, they painted a magnificent mural. Oceans, skies, forests, all joined together. When they finished, the paintbrush glowed with pride. Inky giggled and nestled on her shoulder, now calm and happy. Lila learned something new. Even chaos can be turned into beauty with patience and care. Stay with us for more adventurous lesson. The Shade Master's Challenge. One evening, as Lila admired her growing gallery, a chill swept through her room. The colors on the canvas dimmed, the feathers dulled, and even Inky shivered. Out of the shadows stepped a tall figure, cloaked in gray. His voice was cold. "You hold what is mine. The colors belong to no one." This was the Shade Master, a thief of light and joy. He stretched out his hand, and the colors drained from the paintings, turning them lifeless. "Without me," he hissed, "there is no balance. Give me the brush!" Lila clutched it tightly. The brush was meant for kindness, not greed, she said. But the Shade Master only laughed, spreading darkness across her room. Then Lila remembered something. She dipped the brush into the brightest gold she had, painting a circle of light around herself. The darkness hissed and shrank back. Aero swooped in with the wind. Splash emerged from a swirl of water, and even Inky stood bravely, changing colors like a shield. Together, they pushed the shadows back, stroke by stroke, until the Shade Master vanished with a final hiss. This is not the end. The brush shimmered once more, now glowing with all the colors she had earned. But Lila knew this was only the beginning. A storm was coming. Stay tuned for next chapter, The Great Color Storm. Chapter 6. Collide. The Great Color Storm finale. The night sky was no longer a calm blanket of stars. It churned and twisted as if alive, bursting with colors that clashed and swirled like an angry sea. Reds shot like lightning, blues rippled like thunder, and greens rolled and crashed like towering waves. At the heart of it all was the Shade Master, dark, powerful, and more dangerous than ever. His shadowy form stretched across the sky, a storm of ink and greed ready to swallow every color ever painted. Down below, the sea roared against the cliffs, waves rising higher and higher, as though the ocean itself feared the chaos above. The air was heavy with magic, humming with energy. The world was breaking, and only one person could stop it. Lila stood at the cliff's edge, clutching the glowing paintbrush that had started it all. Behind her, her friends gathered Splash, the brave sea sprite Aero, the guardian of the skies, and tiny Inky, the mischievous color imp, who always found joy in chaos. "Keeper!" Splash shouted, his voice nearly drowned by the howling wind. "The Shade Master's power is ripping the worlds apart!" Aero swooped close, wings beating hard against the storm. "Your courage will hold them together," he said firmly. "But you must paint like never before." Inky peeked out from behind Lila's shoulder, his small face determined. "And I'll make it fun. Don't forget the pinks." Lila took a deep breath. She could feel the storm's pull, the darkness trying to smother every bright memory and hope. But inside her, she felt something stronger every adventure, every lesson, every act of kindness and bravery that had brought her here. She stepped forward. "Then let's show him what real color can do." Lila dipped her brush into the air. At once, streams of teal flowed like ocean waves, shimmering with life. Gold streaks blazed across the dark clouds, and playful pink spun into dazzling spirals. The colors danced, swirling around her, each stroke more alive than the last. The ground shook as the Shade Master roared, his voice deep and thunderous. "You cannot defeat me. Colors are mine to control." But Lila didn't waver. Her strokes became faster, broader, and bolder. With each sweep, the brush summoned the strength of her friends, the courage of Splash, the wisdom of Aero, the laughter of Inky. Together, they formed shapes that came alive. Walls of light to block the storm, bridges of gold to link the broken worlds, and finally, a magnificent creature. From the sea rose a shape unlike any other, a sea dragon, vast and shimmering, made of clouds, water, and light. Its body coiled around the cliffs, Its wings spread across the sky. Its scales were silver blue, flecked with gold, and its eyes glowed with warmth. The Shade Master struck with shadowy tendrils, each one lashing like a whip. But the dragon wrote a sound so powerful it seemed to shake the stars. The waves calmed as it dived through the storm, its tail sweeping away darkness, its breath painting bright paths through the night. "Go, Keeper!" Aero cried. "The final stroke is yours!" Lila raised the brush high. "This is for every color, every dream, every kind heart." With a single, sweeping motion, she painted across the sky, pouring all her love, courage, and kindness into that one final stroke. The brush blazed brighter than ever, and the colors exploded outward, a cascade of light that washed over the Shade Master. He howled as the brightness pierced his shadows. No, kindness is weakness. But the colors only grew stronger, fed by every good memory, every act of care Lila had shown. The dragon coiled around the Shade Master, its wings spreading like a shield, and then, with one final burst, the storm shattered. The sky erupted into 1,000 light-tiny fragments of color that floated gently like fireflies. The sea calmed, the winds softened, and the shadows melted away. When the world grew still again, Lila lowered her brush, now softly glowing. The sea sang a gentle tune, the clouds shimmered with soft hues, and the air smelled fresh and new. A voice, warm and kind, whispered through the colors. "Keeper, you have painted not just worlds, but hearts. Remember, every act of kindness is a color that never fades." Lila turned to her friends. Splash grinned wide. Aero gave a proud nod, and Inky spun circles of pink hearts around them. Lila smiled, holding them close. She looked at the glowing horizon, knowing that new adventures would always come. But for now, the brush could rest. The colors of the sea and sky were safe, painted forever in her heart. That was such a fun story. I bet you loved it as much as we did. We create magical stories that take you on an adventure. Don't forget to shine bright. Join our world and let your imagination run wild. You can even send us your own stories, and we might feature them on our channel. If you did, don't forget to like the video. It really helps us out. And subscribe to join our magical story world. Click the bell so you never miss an adventure. We've got so many more stories to share with you. And for those of you who are new here, hello, welcome. So until next time, sweet dreams, little stars.